Altadena Wild, thank you for being here. Post Fire, excellent. Altadena Heritage, wonderful. Altogether again, thank you. Um, Io loves you. Thank you for being here. Altadena Heritage again. Ooh, people keep joining. I love it. Altadena United, wonderful. Altadena Rising, excellent. Okay, so we've got a lot of groups here, and there was no true set agenda. This is just kind of a first meeting to, there's a lot of us that have popped up, just since the fire, and we all have very similar, I want to say, goals in mind of protecting Altadena, keeping, doing whatever we can to preserve the identity, who lives here, the residents, etc. So what I want to do is basically give us all a few minutes just to introduce, and then I guess kind of leave it open for collaboration, or announcements, questions as well. So the idea is just let's all try to be aware of all of us here so we can team up in ways. As far as how should who should go first? I'll just go first, just real quick. But as far as who wants to go next, if you want to just raise your hand, um, and just we'll kind of go in the order of whoever raises their hand. Um,
And then we'll just try and I'm sure we want to be respectful of everybody's time. Hi, I'm Michael. I know I'm muted, but I'm in the same room as
oh
uh,
yeah,
Brooke, so that's why you can hear me. If they're still looking at you, it's coming from your microphone.
oh yeah.
Um, Hear me. No,
No, I'll just go like this. I'll show you
yeah.
here.
Hey, so I'm just like, we'll try and say be respectful of everybody's time. Raise your hand. We want to hear from as many people, and obviously not have a bunch of overlapping work and places we can team up and collaborate. So just maybe like a couple minutes max before we move on to the next person.
Excellent. Okay. And then just real quick, I am Brooke. My husband is Michael. Renters in Altadena for about 7 years. We basically decided to start the initiative to start a petition, which I'm sure I've sent to most, if not all of you. So that's kind of, we're not necessarily associated with any particular group other than ourselves and having started that petition. As far as, where did my participants go? Where
Does it not list them by who raised their hand first? It looks like Courage would be up first, right?
Yeah, Courage, go ahead. I know, I think I saw you first as far as introductions. I'm just, before it showed me who all has their hand raised.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, my name's Courage. I'll try to keep it brief. I, with the question of like, what org do I represent? I was having a hard time answering that. I kind of have my fingers in so many pies right now because I'm huge on coalition building, on all of us being aware of each other, respecting each other. And so like, I kind of want to be a part of everything. I kind of have a huge skill set. And so I feel like I've often been best as like someone who's kind of everywhere, kind of behind the scenes, helping everyone with a little bit of something. But also, we're one community. And so I really want to try to have that spirit reflected in my work as well. So, I've been doing things with Altadena Not For Sale, with the Altadena / Build Back Vintage, with Authentic Altadena, as well as Altogether. And I'm kind of close to a number of the council members. And so I've been really trying to figure out like where I can be of help. And I've been working tirelessly the last 3 weeks on a webpage on my website, couragetheactor.com /Altadena, where I have on there as many resources organized as possible. Thanks also to the help of other individuals like Labid, who's in this meeting right now. He made this incredible Google Doc where it has like a huge, huge list of just resources for survivors. But also I have on there kind of like a directory for all the different movements I've been seeing emerge from Altadena. And because I want people to get involved. I want people to go on there and not only learn how to support themselves through this horribly difficult time, but also find out ways to get engaged and ways to organize, and so that we can, do all the things that Brooke already aforementioned. I'm putting myself available out there. I'm in a position, thankfully, in a number of ways to make this kind of mostly my whole life, for the next year or two. I'm there for my neighbors. I'm there for each and every one of you. And last thing I'll kind of throw in there is I've done the activism thing at many points in my life, and I can't say how many times I've seen a movement fail because, there's like this lateral violence thing going on. There's people kind of criticizing, like, well, this person's has this approach and I have that approach. They must be wrong. Or even worse, I see activists kind of sabotaging each other. I want us to respect the fact that we're all approaching this huge event differently, and trying to help people in different ways, trying to organize in different ways. But that's the strength. That's not the criticism. And so I would love to see us keep unity in mind, which is why Brooke is doing this. So thank you so much, Brooke, for bringing us all together. And again, I'm putting myself out there. I love all of you. I love this town. And it breaks my heart into a million pieces every hour, just thinking about, I feel like I'm going to wake up and all of this will be a dream. But unfortunately, this does seem to be real. And I want to just devote almost my whole life in the next year or two to working with all of you, but also just helping rebuild our community and in the spirit of the old. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. And then I do see real quick, there's a question about what is the petition. Michael's going to pop that in the chat if you want to take a look at that, and share if it's something you agree with. Thank you so much, Courage. So I'm going to lower your hand. Scout, you are up.
I am Scout. I'm not an organization, so I'm trying to go under a minute. I think Altadena is not for sale should include our data, and Google and Meta and whoever owns Reddit are making so much money off of this situation. There's so many free open source tools, so I built an online open source bulletin board at altadena.us, and I think it's more of a situation where I think it's just for the future. I think it's hard to get buy-in, but I'm working on building an open source thing that we can all use that's separate from that, or for people that don't have access to that, and trying to collect as much information there as I can, not to be any kind of publication, but just to be like a hub for anything and everything related to this effort. 47 seconds. Thanks.
A new record. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Scout. Okay, Melissa.
Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa Michelson. I co-founded Altadena Not For Sale. I mean, it's called Altadena Not For Sale. Not is not for sale. It's just Altadena Not For Sale. And the reason why that is because Gabriella, I don't think she's here yet. I don't see her. But she's a screen printer who lost her home on Palm and her home and business. And I don't live in Altadena, but I consider Altadena my adopted community because I spend so much time there, and I love, as I was telling her, I love Altadena more than I love Alhambra, which is where I live. So I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Probably the same reason you guys love Altadena too. So anyway, and I wear many hats. I've always done community organizing. I'm an activist. I've been writing for a local grassroots non-corporate media outlet called coloradoboulevard.net. So I try to get articles out there. I'll put some stuff in the chat later. So we started this group called Altadena Not For Sale. And I put the graphic in there that Courage made. Thank you, Courage, for helping us on that. You're really good at that. And he put together a link tree for us. So right there has a one-stop shop for if you want to get yard signs. You could also see the poster that someone's holding right there. They look like that. If you haven't seen them around, I hope you've seen them around. But right now we have, and I'll tell you the purpose, which is kind of an all-encompassing, obvious purpose. We want to get the message out that we're not leaving, we're not going anywhere. Altadena is not for sale, and hands off Altadena, that kind of thing. So we've had multiple protests, and now we're shifting gears and trying to get the yard signs out on people's yards. whether they have a home, whether they don't have a home, it doesn't matter whether, whether we're trying to focus on Altadena and then maybe a little northern Pasadena. So if you live up there, or if you know people that live up there, I want to get signs out to them. And we have shirts made by Gabriella, and we're asking $10 for a sign or $10 for a shirt. And I have volunteer Maria Elena. She's she's in charge of the shirts. And so you might see us going to events. I want to go to more in-person events, and I'll set up a table, or I'll be out there. I went to the Pasadena City College insurance event when it was raining on Sunday, and then I went to another one to a town hall on Friday night. And the signs, yeah, like John says, thanks. The signs are dope. I mean, the signs are they go like hotcakes, and I'm really happy about that. So all the money that we get for those signs go right into making more signs, and t-shirts go right into making just constant. So my idea is to blanket Altadena with the signs. And I guess that's it. Did I cover everything? I mean, another aspect is basically I want to do more education to people about the Governor Newsom's executive order. And if you're not on my mailing list, because I have a large mailing list, please put your name or chat with me in there and give me your email so I can add you to the mailing list. And then we need more Instagram eyeballs too. So I guess I think that's it. Did I cover everything, Brooke?
I think so. No, that was great. Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course, if anyone has any questions, depending on time, I mean, we can go as long as you guys want. We can keep it to, within the hour. It's up to you guys. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to either put it in the chat, DM. We can also continue this offline if anybody wants to also start,
And I also want to say thank you for bringing us together. We need a master coordinator to get us all in the same room and figure out. I'd love to figure out where we overlap and where we don't, and hopefully, because all these groups, people get confused, and we're all kind of saying the same thing. Altadena strong, Altadena is beautiful, Altadena not for sale. People get confused. It doesn't really matter as long as the message gets out, but it might be nice to see where people overlap. And so, yeah, like I said, my group is more for trying to help the underinsured and the non-insured hopefully have other options, but I need more information, and I don't know where those residents necessarily are, so how to get to them. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Okay, up next we've got Authentic Altadena. Jeffrey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Lopez, and my wife's family's been in Altadena for 25 years up in the Meadows. We lived up there for about 8 years with them, and we moved about 2 years ago. So luckily, when all of this happened, they could come stay with us. And one of the biggest hurdles was, avoided for us. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I started Authentic Altadena, is because I have the capacity and the bandwidth to help in ways that other people can't at the moment, right? And like I've been telling other people as this has been going on, the biggest focus for Authentic Altadena is to provide the resources for the people that can't necessarily, that we want to help heal and have the space to heal for themselves, right? Instead of having them having to constantly be looking for places to find information, I want to use the YouTube channel, and I'll go really quickly over this part, is that I've been studying YouTube monetization for a while now. And what I've been learning is basically anytime anyone is on a social media platform, someone is making money. And that means that everyone but Altadena has been making money on Altadena since the fire started. And I want that to stop. So I want to create a local media outlet where we basically have Altadena being run by Altadena, and we no longer need outside people in order to hope that the media covers our story, right? At this point, in the palm of our hand, we have the same power that all of these big media corporations have. It's the same thing. And since so many people are focused on getting their life back together, I can focus wholeheartedly on building this YouTube channel to create a passive income for Altadena for years to come, because this isn't going to go away. And even if YouTube goes away, if we build our media outlet strong enough, we can just start our own thing and already have the connections with other companies that we need and other organizations in order to keep moving, right? So to keep it short, I wrote a script so I don't ramble for too long, because I tend to do that. So the primary focus of Authentic Altadena is not just to share videos. It's to provide a free education to the townspeople. We're collecting and uploading Zoom meetings with vital information, as well as sharing resource information as we get it. Our immediate objective is providing important information in real time as the town recovers and starts to rebuild from the fire. Think of a local news outlet, right? Because if you think about it, even though we all have, like Melissa was saying, you guys have Altadena Not For Sale on Instagram. I'm not saying don't put your stuff up. What I'm saying is funnel it to me, because I'm building a place where it's going to generate money. And that's the focus. And all of that money is going to go back to Altadena, right? So that's where the short-term objective comes in, is where we monetize the YouTube channel and start providing paid opportunities for local creatives to start making money. And again, now we build more within Altadena. And, you know, a big aspect of this, because I've studied psychology and human behavior for a long time, an underlying part of all of this is the byproduct will be that we will have citizens that are equipped with information that we need in order to actually get this done. You know, if we, and I even came up with some numbers, and this is, you know, what we in business is called MVP, which is the minimum viable product, right? If we can just get 300 people to tune in for 10 minutes a day to the channel and learn about all of this stuff, because this isn't just entertainment stuff, you know. I'm like, Altogether, I have to give you props for that town hall meeting that you sent me. I watched it like 3 times, and the information in there is just ridiculous, and ridiculous in a good way. Like the stories from the people that are in that group, I mean, I get emotional just thinking about it, because they've done it. You know, they said that one town within 12 months already had a house built. And the resources we have, we can do it. So, okay, moving on. So our midterm objective is to create original content in the fashion of PBS. But the flip is that instead of asking people to donate money, all they have to do is donate their time by watching the channel and getting educated. Why? Because we're going to be getting paid by the big corporations' money that pay ads on YouTube. So now we can bring in big corp money without the big corporations ever setting foot in Altadena. Why? Because they're paying ad money to YouTube, and that'll get funneled to us, right? So the long-term objective is to provide quality educational content, mainly because, you know, as I've been studying long-term income generation, education is the biggest winner. Because even if I make a video today about, you know, how to, let's say, change, I always use this example, it's kind of dumb, but whatever, it's the only one that comes to mind. If I change the filter on my car, anyone that has that same car can always go watch that video. So even in 5 years, if someone still has that car, I'm getting paid just for them learning how to change their filter in their car, right? So with this education, if we do this correctly, and everyone's got a phone and most people are recording Zoom videos, you funnel it to me, I've got a team that will go through all of this and create something that will ultimately become a step-by-step guide that can help people recover from a disaster. I know it sounds a little outlandish. At the same time, I've been studying it long enough to know that it's very simple to do as long as people work together. Because the more numbers we have, the less output we each have to put in, right? That's why I mentioned the 300 people, and that's just 300 people. I looked at the Altadena Facebook group alone. Sorry, I'm going long. There's 12,000 people in that group alone, just on that Facebook group. If we can get all of them to watch for like 3 minutes a day, we'll have it done by March. and you're getting educated on how the rebuild is happening and how we can do it. And you get to learn who the people that are actually getting things done are. Now you know who to reach out to, and you get to know them just by watching these videos, right? Like psychologically, the more you see someone's face, the more you trust them, and the more you see them doing things that are trustworthy on camera, the faster we build trust with the community and the faster all of this works, right? So I'll stop there because I ramble. Sorry.
No, this is really great. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. And I think it's a really brilliant way to, support Altadena through all of this. And I love PBS. So that's a good model. Anyway, thank you. All right, John, you are up.
Hey everybody, I'm John Mayo. I am an Altadena resident. I live on Madison between Sacramento and Woodbury. I have lived there since 2019. I'm with Altagether. I'm gonna do a fast intro and then I'm gonna kick it to Steph to tell you more about our organization. My house didn't burn down. Most of my block didn't also. I'm feeling, extremely fortunate for that. And also totally just heartbroken. Altadena is my favorite place I've ever lived, and the only place I want to live in LA. And I'm totally determined to play a role in its rebuilding. It just means so much to me. So I have a background in community organizing. I'm a training professional by trade, but I've worked on a bunch of political campaigns, and so community organizing is kind of like the angle that the toolbox that I can bring. I feel like here. And yeah, I guess I kind of also want to mention that I have a back house that I rent out to some tenants. And so I'm also an Altadena landlord, and I like try really hard to not be a piece of shit landlord. And I don't know, that's just something I think about a lot, and I would love to see more multifamily housing get built in Altadena over the recovery period here. Yeah, so I'm going to kick it to Steph Lynch now to tell you more about what Altagether is up to.
I'm Steph. Hey, I am also a community organizer. I used to be at Planned Parenthood in Altadena, and I worked on the Yes on Measure A campaign for all of LA County. Okay, so altogether, kind of the easiest way to describe what we're trying to do is think of us like a telephone operator. So we have a hotline, we have an email, we have a website. Essentially, what we're trying to do is connect neighbors to each other, connect them to us, and give them the experts who can actually tell them the answers of what they're looking for. I'm sure everyone like me is overwhelmed by the amount of resources out there. I don't want to be an expert about anything, but I want to know who the experts are to be able to send people that direction. One of the basis of our community organizing models is called the neighborhood captain model, which we're planning to launch next week, I think. And that framework was handed down to us from a nonprofit called After the Fire, which is the people we did the town hall with. It is a nonprofit comprised of people who are mega fire survivors, whose sole purpose is to pass on the resources and learnings that they had going through this process themselves. And they cannot stop talking about how important being organized on a micro niche neighborhood level, neighbor to neighbor is. So we're developing the framework to do that. We bought the voter roll. We have a mapping system to be able to make sure people are able to be connected in with their neighborhood captains. And so I'll drop some more information in the chat, but thank you for having us as part of this.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Steph. Thank you so much, John. Great work. Steph, I just want to say that talking with you that day really it really brightened my day. So I felt very comforted after that. So thank you. All right. I just muted myself. I'm sorry. Okay, next up we have Freddy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Freddy. I'll be quick because I'm pretty long-winded. I was born in Altadena 51 years ago. My grandparents had died in Altadena. They had great-grandchildren there. My parents lost their house on Gaywood. My nephew lost his house on Porter. My sister lost her house on Marchetta. We lost the Brake Masters that we leased on Lake. We lost the Easy Stop on Lake. My cousins lost the Chevron on Lake and Altadena Drive. Whoever lives in Altadena, you've probably seen my law firm. It says the Fox Firm on Woodbury next to Green Holdings, a nice white building. And then I live on Sonoma. So our family's been decimated of 60 years of being in Altadena. I am a criminal defense attorney by trade, but also a civil rights activist. I've helped create movements in different areas. Weird fact, like electronic dance music, I helped usher that into another world. And then the cannabis movement, and I helped bring that to legalization. I wrote all the laws. I passed the first city in the state. And then I had worked with the city of Atlanta, which was kind of a desert town, to help grow and build that, and went from bankruptcy to close to $500 million in economic activity. On January 6th or 7th, I was on cruise control. One kid went to Elliott, one kid went to Altadena. My life is good. I have a few cases. My office close to my home. And just like every one of you, our lives got turned, flipped upside down. I have elderly parents who are disheveled, sisters, brothers, cousins. Everybody's a big wreck. So I spent, like you guys, the first few days in shock, next few days in anger. And I said that I can no longer be a victim. And more importantly, I've represented maybe 300 Altadena residents. I went to Noyes, Elliott, and John Muir, all my friends. And I just felt that I have to do something. With the skill sets that I have, with the heart and the passion that I have, I feel I have to do something for our community. So we attempted a first launch at a really nice event. We had some incredible media, things of that nature, solely focused on protection of our people and having a clear understanding of what it's going to take to rebuild. So I'm really focusing and honing in on rebuild, although I can assist and provide a bunch of wealth of resources in the short-term issues, such, as emergency needs, but my true focus is to build stronger. I'm under the firm 100% belief that absolutely we will all fail unless we unify together. So we are rehosting a town hall. I don't want to use the word town hall because it's being overplayed. So many town halls by lawyers and realtors and all that. A community gathering for us on February 5th at 6 p.m. in La Cuneta. We got a beautiful church. We got really, really strong speakers such as Newsom's office, emergency disaster relief, economic developers. We've got the head insurance commissioner, things of that nature that I thought would bring a tremendous amount of value. The head of the air and water and all that. So the main focus that I want to contribute is collective negotiation and collective purchasing. The way I operate, I think we need to be more tough, more vicious, and more protective, because being super nice and being super casual, I don't feel is going to happen. Government can't move fast enough for us. The dollars, the votes, the unification can be so powerful. So the way I'd like to see things is open up to everyone bring in their issues and everyone fight for their issues. We're not all going to agree, but there's 20 things we can agree on. But we must agree to be together. We must agree to be a singular, powerful, vicious voice that doesn't allow anyone to take us over, doesn't allow anyone to take over anyone within our group. We have this collective data and information where we know who has problems, who's going to need money. Maybe we could trade properties amongst each other. Does anyone care where you buy the rebar from, or where your concrete comes from, or who's manufacturing the paint? No. But if we buy collectively, we can purchase this at 30 to 40%. We are going to need massive amounts. We don't need a contractor taxing us on every sub, taxing us on every nail they put in, because they're going to start trying to tell us how much they're going to charge us. We need to turn around and tell them how much we're willing to pay you. And if you don't want to pay it, no problem. We didn't ask for anybody to come here and start making money on a sale of our property or sale of things. No, we just want what we had. None of us are asking for anything more than that, because nobody I've talked to is overinsured. Everyone is underinsured. And unless we help them, unless we fight, unless we're unified, we will all fail. They want to divide us. So everybody in this room, Brooke, I love you. You've been amazing. She's been instrumental in getting me a new church. There was another group that blocked the first event, and I did not fathom that there are people in crisis that are solely focused on their singular benefit. My whole family, my children are displaced. My parents are displaced. I'm on a single mission, and that mission is to unite us. And if we all can get together, if we all combine together, and we can become a Voltron, and we'll be unstoppable. So I want your vote. Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you very much for sharing your story. And I think we're all, most of us, if not all of us, are, I think we're here at this meeting because I think we think the same as far as we are stronger together, and that is the way forward. So thank you. All right. So next up, Tyler, thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, IO, for shooting over the link. Community coming together for real. I just wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Tyler. This is Aria. We're both with Dena Rebuild. So we started getting active pretty much the second days after the fire, and really have just been focused on direct relief with families. A lot of what we have done over the last couple of weeks, aside from like the community assessment end, like we have been like you responding to where we see fit. However, like really honing in on the fact that if you have been born and raised in the Dena, you understand how intricately connected the two cities are. And I think that the hyperfixation on trying to draw some level of distinction is really disingenuous, especially to like the Black community within within Pasadena and Altadena, who very much so are interwoven for generations at a time. And so I'm a fourth generation in Altadena, so I wasn't born here, but my stepdad's grand and great grands and all of them are from Altadena and have lived and been raised in Altadena and Pasadena. And so really, I think with what we're trying to do with Dena Rebuild is really advocate for exactly what we're talking about here, which is like local decision making and really being able to control the flow of our own resources. We see that there are a lot of brands and businesses outside of our community that are getting the money first to now distribute to us, or getting resources first to then distribute to us, leaving us really with the burden to coordinate logistics amongst ourselves anyway. But really, we do want to speak to and speak for the people that are going to get lost in this, which is really the Black elderly community within Altadena, and mobilizing around them and mobilizing without their they're not really going to be the ones to find the Zoom link at 8 o'clock at night or get past it on WhatsApp. So really making sure that we don't overspeak or overstep, and trying to make sure that, and again, we make people whole. A lot of our efforts have been, like I said, very hyper local and really focusing on events and activations so that we're bringing people more to have experiences, bringing them back to the city. But that's where they can coordinate resources. But within couple of days, we set up a delivery service. And right now we're working and tracking with about 20 families, and we plan to just support them for as long as they need us. Our list continues to grow, but rather than trying to cast a wide net, ultimately, we just are trying to make sure people don't fall through the cracks. And again, being under 30 and mobilizing as like predominantly Black young people from Pasadena and Altadena, really making sure that we don't get lost in a lot of considerations that ultimately get made without us being even represented in the room. So I'm happy that we were able to find this link through happenstance, but I also know a lot of young Black leaders who have been on the ground organizing that really don't have access to even the spaces that are being coordinated around them, even though they have lived there their whole lives. So that's all I wanted to speak on, but it's nice to meet everyone and we'd love to connect, but give you an opportunity to speak as well.
She covered most of it, but I was born and raised here too. And I do think that we need more representation for the Black community, because that was like I have so much history here, so I don't want to like lose all of that culture and heritage that I grew up with, and I want my kids to be able to experience the same Altadena as me. So I do think we should be included in the conversation when that happens. Yeah.
100%. And I feel like this has been a concern of mine in particular, is finding ways to reach out to, yes, the elderly community who really, they can't join the Zoom links. So, you know, they're just And just all these different groups that have popped up, and we have such a beautiful, rich history, and I think everyone that I've spoken to is wanting to preserve that and make sure that it stays. So the more connections we can make. So I'm really glad you guys got this link because yeah, I've only met so many people so far, and we're all trying to move fast. So thank you for being here, and send more people our way because we want to connect everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay. I keep muting myself. I'm sorry. Io, thank you.
Hi, I'm Io. I lost my house and I also lost a triplex that me and my girlfriend spent the last year building by hand. Um, yeah, I love Altadena with all my heart. I'm a native New Yorker. I'm not a native Altadenan, although it really has my whole heart. I I'm a writer, but I have 25 years of community aid activism under my belt and lots of different. I've done a lot of work in the queer space. I've done a lot of work in like Black equity spaces. Um, my thing that I've been focused on is information synthesizing and getting that information out, mostly via Instagram. We started an org called Postfire. We launched our website today, which I will put in here, postfirela.org. The most important thing that our org has created, as far as I'm concerned, is a survivors network. Because I think it is really dangerous and totally inappropriate that resources are only being spread via social media, which a lot of people are not on, as Tyler mentioned. Um, my that the survivors network is designed to connect, much like others have shared, people A to each other and B's to be able to coordinate around collective buying power, collective negotiating power, and also that so that like people can connect with each other. Similar to the neighborhood captains thing, we have a section called Block by Block, which is an initiative that I guess it's the same age-old communal aid idea of people connecting with each other on their block to make sure that those who are not native English speakers, those who are elderly, those who don't use social media are also getting access to all of the information and resources. The Survivors Network, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would tell anyone that you know who is affected by these fires about the Survivors Network so we can make sure to get them resources. I've also been running kind of point because I've been so visible on Instagram. I can't even tell you how many people have reached out to me with resources, including really amazing stuff like networks of hundreds of architects and designers and contractors who want to offer their services either discounted or for free, specifically to Altadena and specifically to Black families who want to rebuild. And it is like of utmost importance to me that Altadena stays owned by the people who have historically owned it and by specifically the Black families who really are behind building it and the Latino families who are there. So yeah, I don't know. There's like a lot of my brain is mush. These things, take your brain away. But yeah, we have a ton of info on our. Oh yeah, another thing that we've been doing is um, public open Zoom Q&As. So I did one with a respiratory expert on air toxicity in LA. I did one with insurance experts on how to file your claims. A really important one is coming up on Sunday at 6, which is with Colonel Swenson, who is literally the Army's person in charge of phase 2 debris removal. So anyone who's getting free debris removal will be getting it through the Army. So I want to prioritize questions from people who were affected by the fires directly. So if you guys want to spread that information, it's on our website. It's postfirela.org. They can sign up for or they can get the link to the Zoom, but they can also submit a question. And I really want to make sure that people who lost their homes are like first in line to get their questions answered. What else do we have going on? Yeah, once somebody joins the Survivors Network, they will get access to a Survivors Only blog where we will share things that everyone should have access to, specifically people who are not on social media, like free furniture, housing resources, financial resources, people who want to donate time and resources, who have time and resources, people on the west side, etc., who are like, how do we reach locals in Altadena? I'm determined to not let this disaster cut along class and race lines as much as I humanly possibly can. So people can volunteer with us, they can whatever. We're serving as kind of like a funnel of information and resources. And yeah, via the Survivors Network, we're hoping also to give people a way to reach each other. And oh yeah, and the block by block thing, we've got a map going live soon so that we can really actually connect people. Like it'll track house by house and like fill in the gaps of where people are missing so that people can find each other. Yeah, I also am a huge believer in everybody, organizers not double teaming on each other's like work so that nobody wastes their time. I'm a big fan of working together. My DMs and my email is always open. I'm io at iolovesyou.com. You can DM me, message me, whatever. I would love to know you. If you care about Altadena, we share the same heart. So let's work together.
Amazing. Thank you. And that made me, since there are many of you on here who got the invite through someone else, if you're comfortable and you want to keep in contact, let's all put our emails in the chat so we can share that and keep in contact. We can, if anyone wants to start a thread, email thread, we can get that going too. So yeah, definitely. Io, thank you so much. This is really great information. Very good resources. Okay, Hans, welcome.
Thank you. Let me first unmute myself. And Brooke, thank you so much for putting all of this together. Thank you for circulating the link. It's so nice to meet everyone here. And it's, I said this at a previous meeting, it really is an honor in these circumstances to assemble with different groups, learn from different people, hear from different people. So I'm just really, really grateful to be here. So my name is Hans Alhoff. I'm a lawyer by training. I'm also the chair of Altadena Heritage. Altadena Heritage has been around for about 35 years. It began as a subcommittee of the town council focused on architectural preservation, historic preservation, cultural preservation. It spun off from the town council and to this day focuses on historic preservation, cultural preservation, and just civic betterment in general. Since the fires, I would say, and I want to be really, really quick on this because I'm very eager to hear from everybody else. We've been sort of laser focused on three things. The first of those, like I think most of us, is just the coalition building side of this. We had a meeting this week with the Altadena Town Council, with the Altadena Historical Society. Michael Bacay from Altadena Wild came. Many members of the LA Conservancy came. It was hosted by Pasadena Heritage, which, unlike Altadena Heritage, is a full-fledged, full-time employees organization. I'm sure everybody runs into this. The toughest thing about coalition building is the inclusivity portion of it. No matter how hard you try, you can always be faulted for not being inclusive enough. But we're doing our best to assemble the groups that we know, who we think have something to contribute to this rebuild, and building some kind of brain trust with those groups, and attending meetings like this to meet other groups and unite with other groups. The second thing we've been focused on is anticipating the possibility that there might be some person, whether we call that person a recovery czar, a chief recovery officer like Steve Soberoff for the city of LA, we're anticipating and envisioning that there's going to be a person who is given the functional and honorary title of guiding Altadena through the years ahead. And we have just been brainstorming who that person might potentially be. The third thing we've been doing is we've been meeting very, very frequently with an urbanism and architecture firm based in Pasadena. I will drop their name in the chat because I think they're really, really worth a look. The name of the firm is Moule, M-O-U-L-E, and Polyzoides, Polyzoides. They're based in Pasadena. They did a lot of work in Biloxi, Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina. They are extremely sophisticated and forward-thinking urban planners and architects. If you've ever heard the phrase new urbanism, that is Stefanos Polyzoides, one of the partners of that firm. He is the dean of the architecture school at Notre Dame in Indiana. And we've been really drawing on their expertise and thinking through the challenges for Altadena ahead. So again, Hans Alhoff, chair of Altadena Heritage, focused on coalition building, focused on, brainstorming, nominating, suggesting, weighing in on who some sort of chief recovery person for Altadena might be. And then part 3, really meeting with and drawing on the expertise of Mullen Polyzoides to learn about all of this, which is not certainly in my wheelhouse, and I don't think in anyone's specific wheelhouse. And Brooke, thank you again for having us.
Thank you so much, Hans. That's really great information and very appreciated. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for joining us and for waiting. You're up.
Hey everyone, thank you for setting this table. I'm Taylor, and I am a lifelong resident of Altadena, Pasadena, up until more recently I moved and then I came back. Yeah, I have been working ever since January 7th. That's technically January 7th. My parents were evacuated. Thankfully, their home is still standing. But I've been working first to connect with all of my friends and family members who lost their homes, and kind of that rolled up into offering support to families who are connected through my church, Victory Bible Church. The church put up a form for who needs help, and as of yesterday, that form is more than 700 submissions. The specific thing that has been unique and valuable, I mean, it's all valuable, but one thing that has been valuable is that we've been a team of 2 or 3 have been calling all of the families regularly. And so I come to this conversation today representing a lot of people that I know, and also a lot of people that I know now because we've been in close contact, many of whom are our elders, as Tyler mentioned, many of whom are legacy homeowners, what we're calling legacy homeowners, people who owned and had homes passed down from grandparents, many of whom were Black grandparents or great grandparents trying to find a place in California that they could buy and live without any drama. Many of whom were living in those homes when they burned down. And so my hope is that in addition to everything that's already been said, my hope is that, as I put in the chat, I like what you said, Tyler. I think elders need to eat first, meaning, a lot of people are putting food on the table. It's a big potluck. Some people are putting insurance help on the table. Some people are making sure you have toilet paper on the table. Some people are let's make sure that we know how to rebuild on the table. No matter what's on the table, if we're all, gonna get up and eat, the elders need to eat first. People who bought those homes and passed them down need to eat first. And if that means that we need to get off of Zoom and go talk to people, then that's what we need to do, because we can't be expecting progress to go in a way that's not compatible with that community. So I'm upholding that first and foremost. I'm also in my own life, in my own capacity, I'm also a technologist. I've worked in government for a really long time. and also community organizing, just public service in general. I've been working very closely with Ash, who's also on this call, with Altadena Rising. We're organizing the organizers, very similar to how this group is coming together. So there's a lot of overlap. Thank you to IO for sending the link for this call. I know that Dena Rebuild is, we're doing a photo project with them this weekend. So it's great to see the overlap and the synergies that are already forming. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to continuing to do this, in the style of a marathon and not a sprint, and making sure that all these good intentions are pieced together into a strategy that really works well. I have a lot more to say about strategy things, but for the sake of time, it's nice to meet everybody, and I look forward to more.
Thank you so much, Taylor. That's wonderful. There's a lot of beautiful things going on here. I'm sorry, I've been working off one brain cell this entire time, so I ramble and everything, but thank you so much for being here. I hope we can all continue this collaboration, because there's just some really, all of you are wonderful, and I'm just I'm gonna start to cry. Never mind. I'm very blessed to have been able to connect with all of you, because this has given me hope. So thank you. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Michael, not you, other Michael Bacay.
Hi, Brooke. Thanks for organizing the meeting. I'm quite confident I'm the oldest person on this call. So I'm a 24-year resident of Altadena. I'm a retired science director for NASA, the space agency, and trained as an astrophysicist with much of my career at Caltech. I'm the founding president of Altadena Wild, and we're a 2-year-old 501c3 organization recognized by the feds and by the state. And we were catalyzed, and our mission is to protect and preserve the foothills. And the catalyst for the formation of our group 2 years ago was the threat in the Altadena foothills by a private school in Pasadena to build a sports complex up on the edge of what is now the National Monument. And gratefully, I found out much of the community believed the same thing I did, that this was a crazy and insane idea. And we were very fact-based in leading the outreach and educating the community about it. We had 7,000 signatures on a petition of opposition. We had a number of yard signs distributed, a billboard. I'm sure you saw all of that. One of the biggest arguments against that sports complex was the fire danger in a very high fire zone defined by the state. And tragically, this catastrophe in Altadena has abundantly illustrated the folly of building new things in very high fire zones. So we had 2 big victories last year in 2024. Number one was the withdrawal of this proposal by the school in October. But also in parallel with that, we've been working to galvanize the northern Altadena community in particular to be very involved in helping the county develop an area plan that governs the foothills and the unincorporated parts of Los Angeles County. And it's dirty work. And a lot of people don't like to get their fingers into government stuff, but I used to work as an executive in the federal government. And so I know how it works. And so I was able to get dozens of people involved to help define a vision for what we would like to see Altadena look like in 20, 30, and 40 years. And that vision morphed into a 180-page document, and it goes by the very clunky name of the West San Gabriel Valley Area Plan. And I'm pleased to report that it passed the Regional Planning Commission in September and was endorsed by the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors on December 10th. And that plan will basically make it very difficult. It will discourage new development in very high fire zones and allow but not mandate new development in more urbanized areas of Altadena, particularly along corridors of mass transit. So that was a big victory. And the best I could get the county to commit is discourage new development. I'm quite confident, I've talked to Hans about this, I'm quite confident that after this fire, the county will not allow any new development in these high fire zones. And so that was a big step forward. And now we have to, and so at our December board meeting, I turned to my board and I said, look, job well done. Now what do we do? And we were searching for a new goal, a new purpose in 2025. This is not the purpose I would have envisioned. Nevertheless, there is unanimous support on the board of the Altadena Wild that we should help the community recover, rebuild, and heal. And so I'm mostly in a listening mode because we have resources, both fiscal and the talents of our board of directors. And I encourage you to look at their bios on the altadenawild.org website. We have a very talented crew. Three of the seven have lost their homes. And yet they are all in on helping the greater community rebuild, recover, and heal. So I want to meet as many people as I can. I want to meet as many groups as I can, so I can bring back to the board some ideas on how we can use what we have done for the last 2 years in terms of organizing principles and fundraising to help others. So I'll stop there. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you, Michael. That is fabulous. And it is it's obvious that there's a wealth of information there since your organization has already been in the trenches, so to say.
Yeah.
So thank you. We are almost at time, but I have Abraham here. Go ahead. You're up.
All right. Well, I'll make mine pretty quick. Thank you, Brooke, Michael, for both of you for just doing what you're doing. It's awesome to see everyone coming together. I'm born and raised in Pasadena, Altadena. My family lost pretty much all their homes out there and businesses, and my main vocation right now, and just don't get upset, but I'm a realtor, broker, but I'm also a pastor, and I'm a former state director with the Department of California Board of Real Estate, and I'm actually one of the compliance officers. And so my heart is for the people first and foremost, but also to get those bad people out of the industry. So Freddy Sayegh, to the person, the criminal attorney on this call, reached out to me and told me, hey, this is what's happening right now. People are coming in, calling, trying to buy and deal with elderly abuse and so forth. So right away, I wanted to join his coalition and put a stop to that. We already put in 2 executive orders with Governor Newsom's office. I'm working really closely with the state prosecutors on how to stop what's happening and to put everything to a halt. I'm also a part of the second largest community organization to teachers, and I'm a former firefighter as well. So we have the voice, and I know that looking at all these pieces, when we see all these small splinter groups, over time it diminishes. And so my heart right now for this group and for each one of us is really to come together and to unite, to be a powerful voice. I ran for office, and I have a good working relationship with certain officials here locally that I think that I can kind of help mesh and be a liaison to help build these groups together. There are immediate needs, intermediate needs, and long-term needs. And I think that my strength will be for the intermediate needs and the long-term needs, as we have plenty of organizations now on boots on ground dealing with the immediate needs now. So I'm all hands in. I'm a team player, but my heart and my goal is to really just keep accountability here, not among just of what's happening, get rid of anyone's personal vested interest, and to really have a heart for the community and to rebuild it back properly, the right way. I want to remove fear. I want to remove the fear of people that just don't know what's happening, and hearing the hearts of each one of you and what you plan on doing or what you can bring to the table, I think is really what's critical, is that we can identify who has the strengths, where they belong, and build this system, and to really unite this group strong, because otherwise, in a year from now, we're going to be totally taken apart and no longer even on the map. We need to stand strong, unite, like I think that's what we're all doing here, And I believe that I can be a big part of this accountability portion and getting rid of all these predators trying to come in and just make money on this deal. That's my heart. Again, Abraham Pratella, and a love for our city.
Thank you so much, Abraham. All right, we also have Ash and Labid. So if everyone's okay with going a little long, I want to make sure everyone has a chance to speak. And besides Ash and Labid, I'm not sure if everyone had a chance. So raise your hand if you want to say anything. Oh, and put your emails. Okay, Ash, you are up.
Hey, what's up? Thank you guys for creating the space. Just wanted to jump in and chat a bit too. Wanted to kind of chime into like what Dena Rebuild said about not organizing around the organizers that are on the ground. I think that's really important, and I think that it's, imperative that we have their voices at the table as well. Especially because they are the ones that are making sure that people have the immediate needs and, can't be in these spaces. As Taylor said, we work together. We are Altadena Rising, and we are a group from all parts of Altadena and Pasadena, from PHS, Blair, Muir. We went to PCC, Howard, Harvard, Art Center, East Bay. So we're kind of all over the place, but our heart is also here. We've been working together since basically high school. Taylor's been here forever. A few of our folks have also been here for generations. Um, we def have to, like, I think of course, like all of us want to do, we all want to work together to make this happen. And I also wanted to thank IO for getting us in this room. Creating spaces like this are definitely important. We're gonna have kind of like a care and collab gathering at Jackie Robinson on February 6th. We would love for you guys to chime in. We'll be in person and in Zoom. Yeah, we'll definitely send an email and stuff, but just trying to be quick. So again, we run the Altadena Rising account. If you guys if you want to chat there, we can definitely talk more. And Taylor's gonna put our contact in the space. So happy to speak further with everybody.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ash. All right. And Labid.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Brooke, so great to put this together. Really inspired by everyone here. Just such incredible folks, and even more just hope for the future. I'll be really quick just to be mindful of time. High level, sort of a activist, community organizer, to activist filmmaker to executive to Hollywood history making executive. I've been very lucky to have helped build the ACLU chapter in Massachusetts. I've worked with NAACP. I've worked with the Civil Rights Project at Harvard fighting the No Child Left Behind Act from '01 to '03. And so I've done a lot of behind the scenes sort of policy at the state, local, and federal level, and then translated some of that work into sort of direct, or as KRS-One likes to say, edutainment, sort of like entertainment that's educating and planting seeds. And then I learned early on that being a filmmaker, even an activist, was not enough. You really needed to understand how politics and money worked and sort of be higher in the food chain to be able to disseminate and work, organize, mobilize. Just really quickly, as a way to share some things that I'm working on already outside of being on the PTA board for my daughter's school and having a WhatsApp group and collecting GoFundMe pages and distributing gift cards to local members of the community that are in need, as we have a list of families that are most in need, looking specifically to Latino families and Black families in Altadena and Pasadena, talking to government officials and major nonprofits who want to get behind a centralized organization where there's no splinters. We're all sort of under one hub. We can have divisions of labor expertise, subject matter expertise, the whole thing, but having a unified group where communication is kept, and if we can really hone in on this narrative and show that we are unified and galvanized, there's some serious money that we can bring to the table. And that's what I have spent a lot of time doing in the last 15 years. I structure deals with like pension funds, and I work on behalf of family offices. So I do a lot of that work sort of top down, helping to make sure that who needs the money gets the money. my email, I'm going to put it down, and I look forward to just connecting with all of you guys and figuring out how we don't have splinter groups, but we have divisions under an umbrella that is consisting of all of us, and we are super organized as we face the next 5 years of rebuilding Altadena. Thank you.
Thank you, Labid. Okay, is there anyone else who has yet to introduce themselves who wants to? The floor is now yours. We have addressed everyone who's raised their hand. Oh, Jeffrey?
I just wanted to chime in really quick because a few people mentioned a few things, and I realized I didn't give the skills that I bring to the table. I just talked about authentic Altadena. So what Labid was talking about as far as like unifying people and finance and stuff. I worked in personal finance for almost 10 years. So another thing I really want to bring to the table is education on how to set yourself up for generational wealth. And like I said, I worked in finance. I know people that can help you set that up. I don't personally sell anything, but I want to create trainings and put them up on the Altadena YouTube channel and just leave them out there for people to really start learning the basics. And like, we were talking about the under I don't remember what the term is, but the Black and Latino families, they usually don't get this kind of information, right? And I want to make sure that they do get it because it's vital and it's actually fairly simple to get these things going. It's just learning some basic things and knowing who to talk to. So I wanted to mention that because I know that finance is going to be a big part of this rebuild, especially in the long-term sense. So I'm here to offer all of my knowledge to whoever's willing to listen. And I want to work with anyone who also works in finance so I can learn more and teach more.
Excellent. Oh, Io, I see your hand. Oh, sorry, Courage, you actually were up first.
Just real quick, I just wanted to say I love the diversity in this call, but also like how so many of us are talking about marginalized groups and people of color across the BIPOC spectrum. And I'm loving that. I'm loving that so much. But just real quick, one thing I didn't mention is that I am Native American. My family is Tarahumara and Lakota, and like that's a huge part of who I fight for, who I've fought for many, many years. There are 400 people in Altadena that identify as Native American. And so it's like, I want to definitely also bring a voice, a platform, and a sense of visibility to that community as well, who's been impacted by this event as much as anybody else. So that's something that means a lot to me as well. And so if that's something that also is something you want to discuss or work on, I've been doing a lot of things as well to try and do just that with that community. So it means a lot to me. And in the end, this is all indigenous land. It belongs to the Gabrielino Tongva people. We literally have a building that is built on the bodies of 6,000 people that perished Gabrielino Nation. And so I always want to bring attention to the fact that, this is a community that deserves visibility and definitely deserves visibility during an event like this where they need support and they need to feel included. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Courage. Okay, Io.
I just want to flag that if anybody knows of any survivors who are in urgent need of anything and you don't have the resources to get it to them, we have like a very broad network of people who are resourced and have money and have access and have whatever. So you can either go to postfirela.org and click on the urgent needs thing, or you can sign them up for the survivors network and we'll reach out to them. And if they're elderly and they need to be called, we can do that or whatever. But please, there are a lot of people who want to help and we're happy to be the conduit. So postfirela.org will get them food, we'll get them whatever they need literally delivered to their house.
Thank you so much for that. Melissa.
Hi, I just had a question on getting information since, I don't know. For example, yesterday there was a town hall, cleanup rebuild town hall at Pasadena City College at 6 p.m. and I didn't know about it. And I'm sure if I didn't know about it, a lot of other people didn't, but I saw there were a lot of people in the room, like it was a packed house. So I'm just wondering where maybe it's really those specific people who have given their contact info to FEMA and whatnot, and I'm not in that bunch. But I'm just trying to find out where there is a place that you all are getting information and educating yourselves and sharing information about events and town halls. The only place that I know of that I've been using is the Facebook group Altadena, community group or something like that, California community, and the one with 12,000 now. It doesn't mean necessarily they're all Altadenans. Like I'm not even an Altadena, but I'm in there. Uh, but and who knows who else is in there, bots or whatever. But anyway, but it's very active and I'm really glad to be in there. But does anybody know? So my second question is, who's moderating that? Because somebody turned off the comments in one of my posts, and I'm wondering where all this is coming from. And then I also heard that I think Brooke, you wrote something about someone, a bad actor that I don't know. I mean, I feel like we should communicate amongst ourselves about people there that are bad actors, and maybe that other Facebook group isn't a good one. I don't know. If someone would like to comment, since I'm not in Altadena per se. Thank you.
Well, briefly, there is a bad actor out there who sabotaged what was to be an incredible event, left 500 people hanging for the sole purpose of soliciting legal clients. I'm not going to name who that is. So we just got to be careful to stay united and stay vigilant. And that group has been around, for a while. I had no idea who they were. I never needed to be an activist for Altadena because Altadena was doing just fine. It was just this quaint, beautiful little town. It didn't need all of us. But I agree. Um, there's so much information, and you just I kind of like got to swat it in every morning. And so I started Instagram page called the Altadena. And when I go on there, I just get depressed because I added all the people who are involved in it, and it's a source of sadness and depression, um, which I think is something that none of us have discussed. Is we're all going to have these mental health issues. I'm very concerned for my kids who lost their schools. So I'm in agreement with you, Melissa. There has to be more of a unified source of information. I know some of these smart guys know how to collect data and kind of create a source, but I agree with you. It's just flying at us, and you're missing a lot. So am I.
Would it be helpful for people if we made a organizers, I mean, since we are basically acting as like one source of information funneling, would it be helpful or welcome by this community if we were to make an centralized organizers? Okay. Okay. Well, expect that to be up on our website shortly. And then you guys can all sign up for register for that mailing list, and then anything that we hear about, we'll send out through there.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you for bringing that up, Melissa. Oh, so we are over time, but that's totally fine. It's not a big deal. If anyone else has anything to say, please raise your hand now or forever hold your peace for now. I do want to remind that we have some live events. We have the Altadena Strong community event, we'll call it, as Freddy was talking about. That is this Wednesday, the 5th at 6 p.m. That's at the La Cañada Congregational Church. I believe it's 1200 Foothill Boulevard in La Cañada. There is also, forgive me, there's also one on the 7th. There's an in-person meeting. I forget who mentioned that. Do you want to chime in and re-announce? Was it at the
That
park?
was Ash and Taylor. They're gathering organizers similar to this, and they're making a power map so that they want to do similar work to this. It's at the Jackie Robinson Center.
Jackie Robinson Center on Friday, the 7th at 6 p.m. And we can send out info.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aria.
Right. Unless anyone else has any other questions, I think that we can call it good for now. I'd love to reconvene in some way. I am not an organizer by trade. I am an opera singer. I just love Altadena and I want to see us all work together. So if anyone has any suggestions on what to do next for this group and to also incorporate and collaborate, form coalitions with other groups, please reach out to me. I feel like my role in this so far has just been a sort of connector and talking with people and just seeing, how I can get us all together. So,
May I answer a question, Brooke?
yes.
Or offer that question? So, and Freddie, I had a 2 hour lunch with Demetrius today. So Freddie found, and I have now spent a little time with this incredible disaster recovery expert who is just shy of 40, but his whole life has been dedicated to disaster recovery, from being an accountant to being in operations on behalf of a family office that owns disaster recovery companies, to building apps that he sold to insurance companies and to private equity firms that helped streamline the process. He understands FEMA, HUD, I mean, just everything. This guy is just a wealth of information. One of the things he said, the first thing that happens every time he enters a disaster, from Katrina, Hurricane Helene, I mean, you name it, he's been there, is that splinter groups start, right? And he said that ultimately, because people are worried about today, tomorrow, some people are worried about 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, 12 months, but you got to worry about today and 5 years from now, all at the same time. And not everyone has that bandwidth, right? And so one thing he said was consistency. So, Brooke, kudos to you for organizing this and bringing these people. IO, kudos to you to sharing the link with Tay and Ash and getting it out there in the community. The thing that I would say is, can we do this once a week, once every other week, and build it, and share ideas of what we're doing, and maybe even ad hoc sort of a Google document where each one of us can share ideas and updates on what we're doing individually, and then collectively be able to figure out how to organize it into a centralized category where ultimately, again, I think I said it earlier, where we have divisions of labor, people with subject matter expertise. I mean, Altadena Wild, I mean, Michael, I'm excited to spend time with you and learn what you're doing and sort of loop you into some of the conversations as well. But like, we should all be proverbially wrapping our arms together in a a kumbaya moment, but consistency of this, Brooke, right? And you've done this, although you say you're not an organizer, you've done this and you've organized the organizers.
I
So
am now.
I would say let's keep this up. Maybe we decide as a group how often we want to meet, and even organize the topics and the flow and the strategy and what we do next. Because again, this is not a short-term thing. This is a 5 year minimum thing. It's my daughter Amara. She's 8, second grade, Altadena Arts, along with Freddie. Freddie's kid is also at Altadena Arts now at Allendale. So this right here, this is the most important thing. Us staying together, staying close, staying connected, and consistency. So that's my only comment to your question, Brooke.
I just want to flag something, which is that Altadena Rising is also organizing one of these, and they are longstanding in the community and have a ton of community organizing experience. So I would just lovingly suggest that maybe we wait on formalizing this until we see what they're doing with their power map, because they have like extensive organizing experience and are like deeply connected to the Black community specifically, and maybe like see if they want to lead on that. Obviously, Taylor's here can speak for themselves.
Yeah,
But
well, I'd love that. I think that's a great suggestion, and I think anytime we have somebody or organizations that are from the community that can speak to the topics of the community, because look, we're only about 10 years here, and I mean, love it, deeply entrenched, but I like what you said, IO. So I think that's a very smart comment.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that for sure. Yeah. Uh, we've got a couple more hands here. Jeffrey.
So to expand on what Labid was saying, and I know I'm harping on about the YouTube channel, but that's my gig, right? So what if we're going to be doing anything consistently, and it doesn't matter who's hosting it, if you could just let me know when the Zoom call is happening, I can just hop on and I can broadcast it live to the YouTube channel, and we can start boosting the hours even faster. Because if we can get people watching, if people can't make it, we can get people basically compressing our watch hours by everyone watching one meeting all the time. And if it's consistent, like Labid said, we're going to play into people's habits, and eventually they're going to start watching this on a regular basis instead of a bunch of other distractions that have nothing to do with Altadena. So I think that's a really good idea. And again, if we're going to be doing this for Altadena and having a bunch of content, we might as well be bringing in some money for them at the same time while they're learning, right? So that's my input.
And Jeffrey, there might be a YouTube aggregator that I can plug you into that they own over 400 YouTube channels, and
okay,
they do click-throughs, and you've studied the math on this. So, if you're by yourself and don't have a network, every click-through might get you 5 to 7 cents. But if you're a part of an aggregator, each click-through gets you $5 per click versus the 7 cents. So I have access to those platforms, FYI.
Please put me in touch with that, because I'm not an expert. I just know certain things, and anything that will help me help Altadena, let's do it.
Hey, you first said you're an expert, man. What's going on here?
Come on now, Freddy.
I'm messing with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Okay, and Melissa.
Just to say what would be helpful for me would be, to have a list of groups that are here, what they're doing, contact, name, that kind of thing. So at least I know what everybody, because it was really interesting to hear where everybody is, but I'll forget in a few minutes. And I apologize for that if you see me out and about and I don't remember what group you're with or whatnot. But anyway, that would be a helpful start to actually getting coordinated and organized. That's it. Thanks.
If you go to the chat and click on the 3 dots, you can save chat, which is what I'm doing. And so I can keep in mind everyone who posted, shared, contact info and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing.
Excellent. And then this is recorded, and so it will save the chat for me as well. And I was thinking that I would either send out an email with everybody's contact information who shared it, or perhaps we can start a running Google Doc where, especially if there are other organizations or groups that we're coming across, and we want to have access to that. So maybe either one of those we can have going here for all of our contact information and little rundown of what the groups are trying to accomplish. Tay, yes, thank you.
I just wanted to add that Ash and I were talking about plans for the organizers meetup for Altadena Rising. One of the things that we are gonna do is kind of think about all the different communication channels that we want to make sure are touched. So we're growing into a space where we can communicate via email, text message, social media, video that can be shared on YouTube, group chat, phone tree, phone banking, all and website now with altadena.us all at the same time. So I'm thinking about that full suite of channels, and I know we all are too. So just wanted to share that. If we do one for one, we'll be thinking about how we can do one for all of the above, and then we can work towards making all of those versions of things available.
Two things I want to make clear is that we're not experts. We are not the fire department. We are not.
Okay, that's it.
Don't know what that was. That weird audio that came through.
A recording of our last meeting.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think we're all in a really good position here to move forward. I think, the waiting for Altadena Rising and kind of going from there as far as a collective group way forward meeting, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it ends up being. I think that is great. I'll send out an email or a Google form with everyone's contact info for here. And then just the reminder about the in-person meetings this week. And thank you. I feel like
Yeah, if you could please send me the in-person meetings, we'll get them uploaded on our website, and then you guys
Excellent.
will be able to access them from now on as long as we find them and send them.
And
Excellent.
Brooke, I've been dying to know what the next step is after your petition, that amazing petition.
You know, I am not 100, I'm going to be frank, I don't know yet. I am, I'm, that was just the first thing that came to mind for me as was starting the petition. I need to look into what the next steps are. I think that we are trying to get as many people to be aware of it at this moment. I've actually just this week was starting to reach out to LA influencers to see if they would start to share on their platform. I know there's a lot of that do LA specific content. And so the short answer is I don't know yet. So
I would love to see us get the support of town council, because I feel like that is definitely a step for sure that could give us a lot of leverage that we need, and so we
Yeah.
can, put residents in power of our own rebuilding.
So when is the next town council meeting? Because are they now just on YouTube, or I mean, I'd love to start going to something in person rather than just being on YouTube or a Zoom.
They meet on the third Tuesday of each month at the community center.
Is that going to be the next? So third Tuesday of third. Oh, third Tuesday.
And you can always go to the town council website, altadena.towncouncil.org, for
February 18th.
meetings and agendas.
So February 18th. So how might Brooke get that petition? Because there's only so much. I mean, it's the thing with petitions is you can get 1,000, you could get 10,000, you could get 500, you could get 20 signatures. In the end, it really doesn't matter. You want to have a good bunch. 700 is great. 1,000 is great. Great. And you could just go and say, and we're continuing, we're still getting more there, signatures are still coming. So now what is the town council going to do with this? And so we got to push on something. So
Well,
we got to move on this because
here
people
are
are
two.
building, people are selling, things are happening, and it would be nice to kind of have an alternative or an avenue for people. And I love Brooke's petition, so that's why I'm like gung ho with this.
Here are two recommended customers. Number one is if you go to a town council meeting, they have a strict agenda, but they do offer public comments. Anybody can make 2 minutes worth of remarks at the end of the meeting. You could bring this petition forward and hand it to the town council leadership. The other potential customer, getting back to what Hans said earlier, is if we end up with a chief recovery or a chief recovery officer, I forget the title that you used, Hans, the rebuilding czar, that would be a natural resource too, because it's envisioned that that person would be in virtual day-to-day contact with county leadership.
What about I mean, we don't know when and if they're going to do that. And what about going to the next Board of Supervisors meeting? And I'm also trying to get a meeting with Catherine Barger going.
Yeah, Hans has his hand up, so he may have some information on this. If you want to try to meet Barger, go through Susie Niemer. She works out of the Pasadena office.
Yeah, I've been waiting for a week to get on the schedule, but I keep following up, so I'll keep following up, but she's busy, I'm sure.
Yes.
But is that something as well, or going to a board? I mean, it's in downtown LA and it's a pain in the butt to go to, and it's in the morning, it's all day, who knows? And or we could speak from our phones to call in.
Just to add a quick comment here, Melissa, I think what you're saying is wonderful, and the petition is great. But this speaks to the notion of being united. So we've got, on my end, I've got some pretty strong ties to Catherine Barger and other political figures, Gavin Newsom, and even across the country and in DC. So again, it's about really leaning into, and Brooke, it's quite okay to not know exactly, but you have the petition. And so I think a part of what we can do as a group and a team is talk through ideas, how to enhance what that petition means or could mean, and use the experience and guidance from people like Michael and Hans, who are already sort of in the fabric of Altadena with organizations, but really hone in on the message and then make sure we're talking to the right political figures with an agenda and bullet points of what we're demanding, right? Not just here's something for you to look at. No, it has to have demands, very clear, concise narrative of what we're doing, why we're doing it, right? And so again, it's not gonna happen overnight. But as this continues and we lean into each other's strengths, we can really figure out that strategy and then figure out who we need to be talking to at what level. I mean, look, I had a call today where we need to be figuring out, I mean, look, I think we have an 18-month protection for residents and insurers for paying for homes, but we all know that the rebuild process is going to last 3 years. And so to to wait until month 15 to ask the federal government to extend that is a mistake. We need to be asking for the extension today. So there's a lot of these things that we need to be thinking about again, day one and month 60. But again, I think if we harness the power that this group possesses and lean into smart strategy and effective communication strategies with the right folks. Look, the Altadena Council is great. Two of the folks on there are, close associates. One is a dad at my school. I just don't know how effective they're going to be for what we're trying to accomplish of protecting Altadena, right? So again, let's just lean in on what we're trying to do here as a community.
Barger will want town council endorsement, so don't go straight to Barger to begin with. You can get to Susie Newmer for informational purposes, but Barger will not act until the town council has endorsed or not endorsed a plan.
Can we hear from Hans? He's had his hand up.
Thanks, Brooke. I was just going to say briefly, I would second everything Michael said about the town council. I think 3 to 4 members of the town council came to our meeting this week. My impression is that they are incredibly sincere. I think that they're working incredibly hard. I think that they're hearing from just an infinite number of sources and doing the best, with all of that to be as deliberative and as thoughtful as they can be. So they are very, very important. I think Michael's right that getting their attention is very important. It's not easy. It's just not easy. And I think we just have to be persistent, have to be modest in our asks, have to be patient. They are working as hard as anyone.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Labid, for I didn't say that before too. Thank you for all of that input as well just a moment ago. We will reconvene. So thank you everyone for being here, and like I said, I'll send out an email with the contact information so we can keep in contact. If there's anyone you want to reach to personally or individually, we can make that available to you as well.